Honestly, I went down a rabbit hole with this one. So we're going to be discussing Etsy today, and I kind of want to preface it by saying I support Etsy as like the idea of it as a small little marketplace for independent sellers and stuff. I support that wholeheartedly, but my evidence suggests it is not all sunshine and rainbows. I have another disclaimer. Literally, I'm scared of the trolls that come for me on this platform and on TikTok. AliExpress and all of that can rip off designs from Etsy rather than it being the other way around. So I just want to say I'm aware of this, but I don't think it applies here. I'm literally going to explain kind of drop shipping to you in fashion. I'm going to give you some examples of obvious drop shipping that I found on the website and found to be hilarious. So buckle up for that. And then I'm going to help you spot key examples of drop shipping so you don't get duped. And I have released like a short version of this on my TikTok. So if you kind of want to skip that, you can go there or you can go on YouTube Shorts. So dropshipping specifically to fashion is when a seller will set up like a third-party page where they are marketing items as their own, and then instead of actually having these items in stock, instead of having made them themselves, they will then just source them from AliExpress or like another third-party fast fashion website and have them send the items straight to the customer's door. So they're just a third party basically. They hold no stock of their own, they hold no kind of reference as to how these items are made any more than you or I if we were to go on the same AliExpress website and look at what they have on there. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Etsy is by now, so I'm not going to go into that. But what I do want to talk about is our social perception of Etsy as like a little sustainable small business, like handmade marketplace rather than, you know, a massively consumer driven site like Amazon. We kind of expect a bit more from Etsy, I feel. Like I found this Twitter thread that kind of explains the social perception of all the different platforms, and they kind of list Etsy as like a little sustainable handmade shop. If you've been on Etsy at all, you've probably noticed the little handmade tag that's next to most items. It's because Etsy does try to market itself as a sort of small business, bespoke handmade item marketplace rather than Amazon or eBay doing, you know, mass-produced stuff. They also don't allow drop shipping on their website of mass-produced items. So if I'm correct and the items I've found are drop shipped from AliExpress or Temu or whatever, then they're going against the Etsy bylines. In my research, I found this really useful video which basically explained exactly how to dropship on sites like Etsy, including hiding prices so your customers don't get annoyed that you're marking up so high and that you are making them believe that you're selling secondhand items when in fact they're all mass-produced. The video literally mentions why it's good to use Etsy for dropshipping because it has a higher perceived value of handmade items and a ready-built base of people looking for quality items. So I decided to go on Etsy and try to hunt for items that I thought would be dropshipping and then basically reverse Google search them to see if I was correct. And yes, I did find them. Let me save you some time. I found some great examples and we're going to go into them here. I did have some parameters for sort of ruling them as successful dropshipping finds. Like they had to be using the exact same photos in each product listing. So they literally hadn't even taken their own photos, which is something people do that I found. They will literally buy something from AliExpress and then take their own photos, which look a lot more expensive. So it's harder to know that it's dropshipping. And also it had to be the exact same item. Like it had to be literally like for like, which is why I kind of found myself gravitating towards maybe t-shirts that had graphic prints or dresses that had like a really specific print because it was really easy to match up versus like a plain white t-shirt is a plain white t-shirt. These were some of the comparisons I found, and it was really interesting to see the difference of the marketing between the two websites. Etsy was obviously a lot more pricier, but also they went into a lot of detail in the description that you just didn't get from AliExpress. Like this have a good day hoodie, they said in the material info, manufactured with spun cotton fibres to ensure a very strong and smooth fabric. And they said 50% cotton, 50% polyester. And the AliExpress material info didn't really mention cotton at all. Literally their material composition was just synthetic fibre, and then in the material they just said polyester. And basically what I did was I messaged both sellers on both platforms, and I did this for all of the items just to kind of see if they would give me any more info. I was hoping for a picture of the clothing label so I could literally compare them side by side. No one let me see this. So I do think that was quite a telling response, that I messaged, I think, 7 or 8 people and none of them would show me a clothing label. Especially the Etsy sellers, because obviously they don't have the stock in front of them to take a photo for me. But the AliExpress people, everyone was really nice, to be fair. So I do kind of want to say this as a disclaimer. Everyone was really nice to me when I asked for a clothing label with a really bullshit excuse. I basically said every time I have a polyester allergy, so I need to know the exact amount of polyester in all of these clothings, and I don't know if they believe me, which is maybe why they didn't give me a photo. But everyone was really nice about it. But yeah, I found that in a lot of the Etsy sellings, they really embellished the material they used, going for more natural fibres. And then in the AliExpress listings, it was all very synthetic fibre, polyester, nylon. I think this vintage cotton dress was the worst for me. They literally said the fabric type was cotton and the material composition was a natural fibre. So obviously you'd expect something that was really good quality and that you could trust wasn't made from polyester. And then when I found the AliExpress listing, it literally said, yeah, synthetic fibre, material composition, and the materials are made from nylon and polyester. How are they getting this information that it's natural fibres? And if they're not getting this information and they're just straight up lying, then how are they still in business? Surely people are receiving the clothing, seeing on the label themselves that it's made from nylon and polyester, not natural materials, and they're complaining. I don't understand how this is working. So for example, this cute little leather mini dress, which is actually really nice, they just said this item is leather fabric. And when I messaged the seller for more info, she said it was a mixture of faux leather and velvet. I think that's an actual material. I'm not even sure. We'll Google search that. And then when I looked at the AliExpress listing, the material composition was just synthetic fibre and they listed it as polyester. So I'm not sure where these Etsy sellers are getting more info from. I'm asking the AliExpress people myself, do you have more info on these items? Because I need to know for an allergy, and they're not giving it to me. So I doubt that the drop sellers are getting much more information from the AliExpress sellers themselves. Maybe, they're obviously getting more money from them, so there's kind of an incentive to give them more information, but the point of drop shipping is that you barely have to do any work. You just have to be a third party between the vendor and the customer. So in theory, they should not have more information than me. So I don't know where they're getting this kind of more information on the composition of the items. I did think about ordering some of these items here just so I could look myself to see if this was true or not, but that just didn't feel sustainable to me, because no way do I want 100% polyester dress. I'm never going to wear it. It's going to be an absolute waste, and obviously fashion returns are so unsustainable as well. So it was kind of a catch-22. I'm just going off the information I can find on the internet, but I feel that is mostly what drop shippers are getting as well. So it kind of feels alright to me. In theory, these drop shippers could be ordering one of everything to their house. So they have the item in front of them and then they're doing the listing. But if they're selling hundreds of items, are you really going to have hundreds of items in your house that you're not going to use just for the purpose of that? No, that dropshipping is supposed to be an easy side hustle. I don't believe that. I can't believe these people are taking advantage of the good name of Etsy. They're literally ruining the only marketplace I can really think of that you can actually get quality items from. And that's just the public perception. I've kind of shopped from Etsy a bit before. I haven't shopped much, but everything I've bought I believed would be handmade. But now I'm kind of questioning myself and second guessing myself. So it just kind of ruins it for everyone. However, I do think I've come up with kind of 3 easy tips to spotting dropshipping. So I do encourage, keep shopping at Etsy. It's a great handmade platform if you can find handmade items, and this list should help you do it. So first off, look at the title. Is it like a bunch of nonsense SEO keywords, as many as possible, crammed into the title space? Or is it like considered accurate keywords? Because obviously actual independent sellers have to get their designs out there, they have to be marketing them right, but you can definitely tell the difference between just a string of unintelligible SEO hotspots or, you know, actually descriptive words that are telling you that it is a maxi dress, it's printed. But yeah, if you're on there enough, you can definitely tell the difference. Like I have been for the past like 2 weeks of my life. Kind of adding a little like extra step to this, just look at the delivery time. If it's like 3-4 months or whatever, it's kind of likely to be drop shipping from China, because obviously the wait times. And there is a caveat here, because handmade items do take ages to get back to you, because they actually have to hand make them, obviously. So if you are, it's kind of a hard one. It's you kind of using your judgment here, and that's why I've kind of included it as a half step, because it's not always the easiest way, but it can give you some kind of idea. The second one is doing exactly what I did and searching the item with Google. You literally just have to right click and press search item with Google, and then you can use the little function saying find image source, and then you can just find all the backlinks of this item. And most Etsy like drop shippers are really lazy, and they've taken the exact same photo, exact same description, etc., or maybe they've embellished it, but it's very easy to tell that this was originally being sold on AliExpress or whatever, and they've just zhuzhed it up. So that's a really easy one to do. You can get quite a few returns, so it can take like a little while to look through, but it is worth it, and you can do it in like, I'd say 5 minutes. The third and final thing, and probably I'd say most time consuming, is looking at the reviews of the item. Obviously, looking at reviews for something is just the worst. My boyfriend loves to do it. He loves to do his research when it comes to things. I'm very much an order it and look at it when it gets here kind of person. I don't really trust other people when it comes to quality, but it can be really telling on here, because a lot of the dropshipping items won't have a lot of comments, and they especially won't have a lot of comments that include photos, versus like the independent sellers will be full of normally really quite positive reviews, and people want to share photos of them wearing the item. But the dropshipping ones, I don't know whether they're removing a lot of the comments because they're negative, because people have realised they're not actually getting what they think they've paid for, or like it might just be filled with comments which are obviously paid for, but you can tell the difference. Again, you just kind of have to spend some time on the platform like me. A good example is this dress here. You can kind of just tell it's handmade, like the quality of it obviously, but you look at the title, you look at the description, and looking through the reviews, there's so many happy people on there showing off their dress. And anyway, it just kind of looks like the item that you can't really mass produce. It just looks handmade. So you might also just want to like have like a little tip that's just trust your gut. Like that hoodie we were talking about earlier is so easily mass produced that benefit of the doubt is probably drop shipping. But this dress, I saw it and I was immediately like, probably not. You know, sometimes you have to trust your gut. Honestly, I went down a rabbit hole with this one. This was a labour of love. I was literally spending 2 weeks, it felt like, just scrolling through Etsy, trying to find examples of dropshipping, trying to find like easy ways of spotting dropshipping so I could share them with you. And I hope I did that. So let me know in the comments if you actually found this useful, or if you have any tips yourself as to spotting drop shipping, which would be really useful. and I might do another video on it or like a quick TikTok, so I'll share that if that happens. Once again, I do want to say that I do support Etsy and support shopping from here, because obviously it's a place for a lot of small designers and you can get a lot of handmade fashion on here. You just have to be wary that some of it isn't, and you could be inadvertently shopping from AliExpress or Temu, which would be the opposite of sustainable fashion. And I don't blame you, it's really easy to be duped, and I feel like dropshipping in fashion is actually not talked about that much. I was more aware of it when it came to like, I want to say tech or home products, that sort of thing. Like obviously you go on Amazon and you're shopping for, I don't know, maybe like a whiteboard for your fridge. You know that you're going to be getting a lot of cheap manufacturing. But when it comes to fashion, maybe it was just me, maybe I was just naive, but I didn't really have the conception that it happened a lot, dropshipping in fashion. So yeah, if more people are aware and more people know how to spot it, then I'll be happy. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for sticking around if you're still here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.